Welcome to the General Youth Ministry Program Activity Startup or Restart Program, okay? So it depends. Now, with the understanding that at one point on the Comprehensive Ministry 101, you had decided to take one step from A to B. So this could be the B part of a program or activity you're going to restart, okay? But we'll look more into the regular youth ministry program, and I'll look more into that. But it could be for an activity too, okay? Before we continue, there's a pre-task that I'm assuming or should be done before I give you the rest of it, okay? That means you have assessed the need of a new program. And through Comprehensive Youth Ministry, of course, there's always an assessment that you need it. You have looked at the ability of the three resources. The human resource, you're looking for people to help. The monetary, how much it's going to cost you. And the physical, it's a pre-task. Where are you going to meet? The room they're going to meet, or if it's an activity, well, it changes. You have prayed about this. You have research, okay? That means you're not duplicating something that's already being done. Or you could be duplicating it, but maybe in a different language. Parish leadership has been approached and informed. That means you're not the only one that knows. The whole parish, the main leadership knows that what has been going on, okay? Plans has been created. You already have a plan. The fullness of the plan has been created. Now, with that in mind, all that, because you still have to go with the three goals of youth ministry, that means this program, the new program, still has to come into the fullness of the three goals and the objectives of youth ministry. Now, let's look at this new program or restart program into the basics of youth ministry, and starting what we call a youth ministry program, okay? Now, the program really consists of the gather preparation, even if it's an activity, the gather. The proclaim, the engagement part of this program, is usually going to be done by some adult leader or sometimes a youth leader. It's going to have a break or reflection with the small groups, maybe it's grade level, faith level, anything like that. And then the last part is the set or the challenge. When you close with prayer, and then the challenge part is go and make disciples of our nation. And all that literally becomes the fullness of a youth ministry program. Now, let me give you one example. But this example you can either take off or add on. Here we go. Let's say this is about 3 or 4 hour option. Okay. You can make it smaller by taking away or adding more or whatever the case you might need. Why a 4 hour? Because I've done this and gives the teens a chance to come in whenever they can and still receive the fullness of what's happening in the whole program. Let's say we start at 5 o'clock with a daily educational mass. I say educational because that's where you can train your lectors, your Christian ministers, so they can do it in their own masses. Okay, especially the young people. Okay, educational, where the priest actually goes through the mass and explains every part of the mass, so the young people can understand why they're doing what they're doing. All the Catholic aerobics, the kneeling down, sitting up, standing up, they know why they're doing that. Okay, so it's an educational mass. That's why it would probably take longer than a regular mass. Educational mass is when you can even have a young person giving a reflection right after the homily, which the homily should be very short, but the teenager gives a reflection of what they understood the readings to be about. Almost like say homily, but not really. Reflection, okay? At 6:30, you have the proclaim with a large group, okay? It can be done by a youth minister, any adult, with an activity, even an activity. So you have what Life Team calls almost a life night or a youth night. Okay, all in the proclaim. Very short, but real quick. The whole thing is going on. Now, at 7:30, you can have the break where you have either small groups that meet in different areas of the grounds, or even classrooms, either by grade level, faith level. Either way you have it, you have a break or reflection. Okay, to break open more what they have heard, either through the mass, through the proclamation, etc. And then the last part again, at 8:30, you have the set and the challenge. Okay, prayer, the church, large group, classroom, doesn't matter, whatever the case might be. And then at 9 o'clock, you have snacks, hangout time, and relational ministry so you can grow. Now, this relational ministry can also happen between the mass and the proclamation. So you can have two relational ministries. You can even have snacks right after mass. Why is this? Because identities can come anytime during this program and feel comfortable. If there's something they don't like because they're not ready for it, if you remember the funnel system and the opening, whatever they don't like and they're not ready for it, they don't stay and they can leave. So really a teenager can come at 5 o'clock and parents and celebrate leadership together, okay? And get the youth leaders to be active in that mass. If they just want to come to the proclaiming engagement, I'm going to say the fun part with a little bit of Jesus, they can. And if they have to leave, they can leave. If they want to go deeper, they stay for the break and reflect. And then whoever's left behind, you do the standing challenge. Okay? But give them an opportunity for them to come at any time. So that's why it's hard for you in this program and this format for you to say, Mark, are you here? Janet, are you here? No, that's when you have your team having a relationship with the young people and have relational ministry and knowing who comes and who doesn't. For visitors, you can always have a little card that says, welcome, whatever, so you can invite them back. Okay? Through all this, in this gathering or program that you're going to start, if you're going to do a youth ministry gathering program like this, unless it's activity, you should add either guest speakers monthly, worship, praise, and groups, adoration, challenge, games between Little Olympics, sports, all this retreat teams that can come and do a retreat in those 4 hours or whatever the case. You can add this to everything that you do. Why? To make it more enhanced. And each one of these can actually fall into your grid if you think about it. Okay? Each one can fall into a part of your grid monthly. Now, let's say you're going to do or restart your what we call youth ministry, okay? Whatever level you have it in the funnel. Let's start, you're going to restart it or a new program. Again, the pre-task. You've done this already because there's no way you can start something without having the pre-task done, okay? And you see it right there. I'm not going to re-say it because I already shared this about. This is about 4 to 6 months or when the idea comes. Sometimes it takes a year to flourish something into a program, okay? But let's say 4 to 6 months. Right after that, if you're going to do a gathering of young people, youth ministry type deal, make sure that you get support of your pastor and priest, okay? Even though it's in the pre-task, in a sense, because it's called leadership, I have to remind you, make sure that you have support, okay? You doing it by yourself just because, you feel like it's not gonna work. Establish a core group of at least 15 to 20. Depending on the program that you're doing, if it's just an activity, it might be less people. If it's just for leadership, it could be even less people, but really know your group and how many people you're gonna need. Order the promotional materials. Hopefully you have the monetary resources to get your resources ready beforehand. This is 3 months before this happens. Okay, so you have 3 months, material comes in, you have 2 months for your team to look into it. Establish connection with team leaders to get their interest. Okay, make sure that your leadership and the team level is something that they like. Okay, not just those that were in the team, but those that you consider leaders in the parish. Now, 2 months before, train the core group and get them familiarized with the Diocese Sexual Misconduct Policy, and again, train them in the program. Okay, but by now, your resources should have come in. Pick a target date for the first meeting. When should we do it? It's a big program. Is your team saying, forget it, it's going to take longer. Before 2 months, let's make it longer. So that first meeting is movable, depending on the program that you're using. Begin advertising the program. Once you find a date, start beginning to advertise everywhere you have social media, the bulletin, things like that. If leadership is part of your program or gathering, select and train a music leader. Who's going to be your music leader to start worshiping? If not, your phone with the praise and worship music to be connected to your system, that's what you need. That's if you have a system. If not, music box or something, CD box or whatever you might have, okay? music. 1 month prior to the first gathering, okay, or the activity, plan out your first semester. If it's going to be a gathering, how long is this? Plan for those 3 months. What are we doing for 3 months? Okay, good if you get that information to the parents later on. Plan for the first night. Make it fun. Food. Even Jesus Christ always uses food, right? At his gatherings. Why? Everybody likes food. Make it a social gathering, not like, oh, it's just going to be a fool about Jesus. Now, understand, if the program is for leadership development, you can still have food, okay? But you don't have to plan it as a social gathering. But it's more a get to know each other, okay? Especially if the teens are coming in, don't know each other. If you have a humongous parish, a huge parish that they don't know each other, social will be good too. Go to the high schools and keep reaching out to the teens. Make sure that they know this is coming up. And speak at all masses about the new program or activity 1 month prior. So you have literally 4 weeks before this happens. So literally you can do it for 4 weeks before Mass. Meet teens after Mass. Hey, even if you have a little card, here, you're invited to this activity. Okay? If it's a leadership development class or program or activity, then you're picking who you get those cards to. But you can still invite them. They might not like it, but you can still invite them. Okay? Invite the whole group, even if it's a high intense leadership. If you look at the funnel, you're looking at the 70 program type deal where, go and make disciples. Have information meeting for parents. It's very important that parents know exactly what's going on. What is it about? So if you say we have an informational meeting for parents, those parents that their team might not want to be there or doesn't really understand or doesn't care, the parents might say, no, you're going to it. Because ultimately the parents are in charge of the young people. Okay? And there's the first catechist of the family, of the domestic church. So just have an informational meeting for those parents. And those are already signing up because it's 1 month. People, sign up real quick. Well, sometimes. 2 weeks before, have a core retreat. Even if it's a 2-hour, 4-hour, doesn't matter. Something for them to come to know each other and get ready. Use heavy publicity. Okay? Make sure that it's going on everywhere. Give out hats, t-shirts, etc. Whatever your budget allows. To teens to promote the program activity. They signed up. Hey, here's a t-shirt for signing up. Wow. You say wait a minute, what if they don't come? You're promoting the program already. Okay? Gather materials for a good environment at the line, like tags, pillows, blankets, etc. Your environment has to be ready. Okay? Your place of worship. Okay? Comprehensive Ministry 101, the worship area. Prepare for that. Create information sheets for teens to fill out. Okay? Make sure you got all those fill out. I say have those way before. I would say make it after a month or so. Have those ready. So you can be ready. Meet with the core group. Go over the yearly calendar or monthly calendar or first meeting or your semester. Make sure that everything's ready. You're looking at everything correctly. Make any changes as you need. Major publicity at the high schools. Continue that publicity. You don't stop as soon as you start. If the program includes Mass, have our ministries assigned for Mass. Our ministers, okay, and ministries. The lecturing, collection, gifts, etc. Copy song sheets for Mass. Okay? Make sure you have your license to do all this, especially for the songs. Encourage full participation in Mass. That means your whole team should be there. Especially if you're going to have a Mass that is part of your gathering. Make sure your whole team is going to be there. Okay? Do the welcoming. Make it exciting at this, if you're going to have Mass. At your first gathering, announce beginning meeting in all Masses. Hey, at this time we're going to have it. Challenge core to reach out to teens. You're still trying to reach out to teens. I don't know if you noticed, but from the very beginning, you're announcing, you're promoting, you're reaching out, you're inviting the teenagers. Have music playing while teens come into their first meeting. Have some background music. Intermingle. It's more of a relational ministry at that point. But have some music in the background. Music that they know. Okay? Good music. music that lifts the soul, not music that moves that buns too much. Okay? Have a PowerPoint slides with upcoming events. That is good because the teams can actually see upcoming events, and if they have questions, they can always ask. So even if you don't give them a handout saying, hey, take this home, these are coming activities whenever you leave after this meeting, at least they've seen it. Something's going on. If you have a video of a program, put it on there. Welcome teams and start the first meeting. Okay? Simple as that. The first gathering. After the gathering, evaluate the night. How did it go? Okay? Ask some of the team leaders. What did they learn? How was it? What did they suggest? Things like that. Call and invite teams back for the next night. Just call them back. Okay? By that time, you have your leaders attached to a small community. Okay? Have a retreat within the first 3 months for those that are coming to that program or activity. Okay? And almost like we telling the story of what happened and what was the best of that gathering or activity. Keep up even if you have like a cookout type deal, something simple. Okay? Keep up the enthusiasm and keep reaching out to teens. Always, the reaching out to teens is always. It never stops. Even if they don't show up, you still say, hey, we have this, we have that, we have this. Come and join us. Now, for any activity or program that you start in your grid, think about it. If you're going to start any of these, all this works for them. Think about it. If you're going to take them to a national conference, the program still works the same. Sometimes I give you a heads up. Like for World Youth Day, I give you almost 3 years in advance for you to start the program and know when everything comes up. Okay? For the promotion and all that. Respect Life Sundays, I was about 8 months prior. DCYC is almost a full year. Actually, it's 2 years in advance, in a sense. At least you have the date. You might not have the theme, but you have the date. Whatever program you're doing, or activity, think about what we just shared. The process, okay? And how you can make this program come to life and be good at starting a new program or restarting a program, because some parishes do stop the program and restart again every year, which I think that's kind of hard, but some parishes do it. So anyway, thank you. God bless. Take care.